Hey guys, we're back. Miss Rae Rae here with Cupcake Fox. We are two baked girls, and today we have a special guest.
So we apologize for not coming back at 1:30 with Pura Vida Vapes. He got very busy at his booth, so we're hoping that we can meet with him later. But we have a wonderful lady that's going to be joining us this afternoon. Her name is Dawn. Her company, or one of the companies, is known as CBDawn, and the other is Dabcore. So her and her husband are actually the main sponsors of the Hemp Fest event that we're at right now. So welcome, Dawn.
Hello, nice to be with you guys.
Nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be in Winnipeg.
Did you enjoy your evening last night?
Yes, that was amazing.
It was.
Going through that beautiful historic heritage house.
Yes.
And it's now a hotel, so
Yeah, it was pretty wonderful.
it was special, definitely. And it 420 friendly, so it was great to have
Exactly.
somebody. We travel across Canada all the time. And I've been educating now on the endocannabinoid system for about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And we're always ending up in hotels, and like home became a holiday. So, so when we travel, it's so nice to have a hotel that, gives you that opportunity. And coming into Winnipeg and staying at the Sandman Inn, they say no smoking in the perimeter of the hotel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm forced to smoke in my car. So any nice policemen that might pull me over, they're going to find it will smell like that because I'm not going to stand out in the cold. I'm sorry. And then you have to walk a block, to get out of the mud and stuff to be able to stand somewhere. And then you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You're not very welcoming feeling, hey?
Well, I do love Winnipeg's people. Like, I do love the feeling here. And I think Manitoba, my dad was born and raised in Neepawa in Manitoba, Riding Mountain. His father was born, they migrated. That was their homestead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were
Such a beautiful
farmers.
place.
And they even remembered when hemp became more into the prohibition end of it. And they had to go far to get their license. It wasn't just handed to them.
Yeah.
And even the livestock suffered after the prohibition of hemp. And the farmers have suffered up until today. And why is that? Why are we not given anything back?
Yeah.
When are we going to wake up in the morning and be so happy because we know our farmers are happy?
Yes.
And that's how we live.
Yeah.
We eat the food that they give us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Happy farmers, happy people.
So
right?
why isn't there fields of hemp when I'm driving through beautiful Saskatchewan, and then Manitoba's outstanding.
Yes.
Such beauty here. And where are the hemp fields? They're coming.
So much prairie.
They're coming.
Yeah.
So
They're gonna make their way. They're
they're
coming now.
yeah. So
Just the
start seeing them.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your CBDawn company?
Well, it's really funny. I mean, we got started in Calgary, and we basically started with research and development because I had not been smoking weed since I had gotten, a family.
Yes.
And that was, a few years back. But then when I started getting ill after, getting into my 40s, and I began to feel that fibromyalgia might be playing a bigger part in my life than I wanted to admit.
Yeah.
And I was always very holistic. So I was so nervous, and so I just left the pain and went through it. And I didn't even think of taking Advil because I just don't think about taking drugs. And I know the dangers of Advil. I know how many millions of people have died from Tylenol since the 70s, aspirin, and so I'm very weary of any kind of medication. Always have been.
I understand.
So, my boyfriend Craig has always been a cannabis user, and I think most of the reason why he is so healthy today is because of his cannabis use.
Yeah.
But then, come 10, 12 years ago, researching what's going on in the Canadian market and seeing what's going on with everybody that's trying to do something, that's trying to make an impact, even despite, facing jail time.
Yes.
Right? And so all these people, and they started the Medical Marijuana Convention in Toronto, the Treat Yourself Medical Marijuana Convention. So 2010, we got in the car and we drove out there between, work jobs and stuff like that, and being able to take time off. And then, we hit the convention and had a really great time. Hit Woofstock with the big dog convention in Toronto in the spring.
Nice.
Loved it. But we were able to start meeting people that were doctors and that were actually confirming some of the reports that we had heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't know about the endocannabinoid system, so bring us up till just about 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, Dr. Machulam, Raphael Machulam, the Israeli doctor that we all know and love,
Yes.
all his reports started to pop up. And then we were like, oh my God, we have an endocannabinoid system?
Yeah.
And nobody's told us about this.
I mean, possibly for us.
So I go to try to talk to my doctor, and he is like Dr. Doolittle, but in a good way. I'm not making fun of him. Not only is he handsome, you know, he's an older fellow, like maybe in his like 60s or 70s or something like that, but he didn't want to hear about it.
Okay, yeah.
And so when he was away, his other doctor that he has a clinic with, she came in and she said to me, well, you know, you can try another drug. And I said, what do you have? I don't want anything addictive. So she says, well, you should try Cymbalta. I was like, what is that? And she goes, well, it's a antidepressant.
Yes.
Don't need it. But she, you know, she went on to explain that it had 3 different things: a painkiller, an antidepressant, and anti-inflammatory or something like that. I don't know. But I went and researched it, right? And after 3 days, because I felt like really weird, but I got to the 420 in Vancouver, and I got to experience it with no pain, but I felt, people even took a picture of me and I looked different. I didn't even look like the same person. And that was like day 3 into taking this stuff.
Yeah.
So then things backed up in my body, and then I was like, that's it. I'm not taking this stuff anymore. So then I now know, and I said to her, you know, Cymbalta is addictive.
Yeah.
Oh, she says, I didn't know.
It's
doctor that
crazy
didn't know?
to me.
But, you know, she's always been really polite and easy to talk to, so I just left it at that. But then when I went back to the other doctor, which is my doctor, I explained to him that, you know, I have to increase my dose now because I want to juice it. And we all know that you don't get high juicing it.
Yeah.
It's like kale.
Yeah.
Right, but I run into all these blocks all the time. So CBDawn just kind of became a thing when we decided that the endocannabinoid thing was real.
Yeah.
But we also decided that we needed to tell Canada. So I just grabbed that name. My boyfriend, my partner, came up with it, and just out of whim. And he said, you know, at least it talks about, you know, the CBD in the name, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of gets over that first hurdle, and then you start talking about hemp.
Oh yeah.
You know, because so many people are so against it because of what the propaganda from the government has not only said then, it still says now, but so I got an RV and we traveled all the way through BC, hitting every dispensary, and every person that I talked to in any health food store, or people just like talking to me, they'll just come up to me, and sometimes it just naturally just starts to flow, you know, and then I'll go, did you know? You possess. And so we did that all summer long. It was so much fun, and we got the word out, went to the High Times Cup. That's why we have our big High Times banner over there.
That's amazing.
And you know, it's just people now, when I ask them, do you know about your endocannabinoid system? And this is just about 2.5 years later.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of it now. I don't have one person yet telling me, a what? Well, okay, maybe there was one.
Yeah.
But but at first it was always like, we have a what? So it was really exciting.
Yeah.
So that's how CBDawn got born, and then it was just a matter of trying to find the purest CBD we could possibly find.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So once we found the purest CBD, and beyond a shadow of a doubt, we knew that was really helping people, then I was like, okay, I will actually sell that.
Yeah.
But that's how long it took, 12 years, research and development, and then this whole switch.
Yeah. It's crazy to me because my dad's always been the kind of person that's like, if you get caught with pot, you're going right to jail, right? So he was always against it, right? But he, when I was trying to explain, I remember years ago, I was like, Dad, there's this like story about Charlotte's Web. And I said, you know, and this little girl was having seizures. And I'm trying to tell, and he's like, no, what do you mean listen to me about it? Because he was just like, well, it's marijuana. Like, I don't care what it's doing. It's illegal, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but Dad, Prohibition beer was illegal too. I said people were still drinking it, right? So, but now that it's legal, now he's all about, well, I'm going to go try this CBD oil, you know, because I was like, Dad, it's not addictive, it's non-psychoactive, you know. I said, it's not going to get you all high. I know you had a bad experience, and, you know, I said, but it could get you off your meds. So I'm like, it's crazy to me now that it's legal, now it's opening up so many doors, and it's like exciting to see, you know. Everybody's saying, like, I have a lot of people that complain about, oh, it's legal now, so all these fines and everything, you know, they're going off about where you can smoke it, and it's like, let's be honest, you're going to smoke it and buy it from whoever like you were doing before. But at least now, people that need it medically can actually go and get it. And it can
that didn't have access, or easy access to it, can now get it.
Yeah.
Where are they getting it from?
The CBD.
Well, there's the dispensaries and stuff, or there's like it's also legal to now sell it, right? Like
Okay,
it's,
but it like all the
I'm just saying
LPs
it's
are out of
easier.
weed. So where are the medical patients getting their weed when all the LPs are going? We're out of our weed, and then on top of it, we've got all these policemen busting in the dispensaries that you and I have to go to, right? If we have no way to grow it, if we can't grow it in our apartment, then what are we going to do? So right now we're in a dry spell. I mean, not us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is just the start, right? Like
Oh,
this
it
is
is
the
just
first
a start,
step. There's
but I'm
so
just
much
saying,
more
think
work
of the
to be
people
done.
that were depending on their LP, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Tell Rae, I need my meds," and Tell Ray's going, "I'm sorry, we are out."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing. That like, and what is worse is what if they go back to their opiates?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, agreed.
That's
And
That's
then what is
scary.
even worse is that fentanyl has taken over every city
Yep.
in Canada.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
And
has.
so then there's the Cannabis Substitution Project that Neil Magnuson started
Yes, you were telling me about this
in
yesterday.
Vancouver.
We need this in Winnipeg.
Yeah, and now him and a group of people constantly are being shut down, but they open again because what is the government trying to tell us? That it's okay that we have these long lineups of people dying of fentanyl overdoses
Yeah.
in the streets
Yeah.
and opiates that are killing them in a gradual way, and they're congesting the entire system because the system was not meant for this to happen. They didn't,
Exactly.
even though they've allowed it, they didn't prepare for the devastating effects that this has had on people.
I agree.
Yeah.
You see, so the Cannabis Substitution Project is started in Vancouver, and we are always working to bring it across Canada. And it just, it takes a lot of people to get together and do it. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, Winnipeg could sure use something like
Well, we
that, and
definitely could.
also
For sure.
that would really put Winnipeg on the map as far as being more of an empathetic province,
Yes.
and really thinking about its people instead of like Victoria,
Yes.
where oh my goodness, big court business. They're all like money, 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 right?
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see one province go, look, our farmers have suffered. We've had enough. All of our people are turning to fentanyl
Yeah.
use, opiate use of some sort. And here's cannabis coming along, and hemp giving back to the farmers, import, export,
Yeah.
growing your own so that, it also can make more room for people to learn about the properties of the plant
Yes.
that
Yeah.
are so much more than we ever know. And I'm
Yeah,
learning so
exactly.
much more every day.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about this plant. It's
Yes.
a plant.
Yeah.
It's a plant. And did you know there's a show actually on YouTube called The Botany of Desire? and the apple was forbidden because if you could grow apple tree, you will make wine or some sort of hooch.
Yeah.
And if you did that, then you're going to get you're going to get tipsy and you
Yeah.
might get drunk, and so they would forbid the apple.
Oh.
And this is one of the most interesting documentaries. Very
I
interesting.
need to watch that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds
Thank you for
Botany
sharing.
of Desire.
Wow.
That's amazing. And yeah, I would like to definitely look into that
Yeah.
program in Vancouver and see how we can get one started here in Manitoba.
Yeah.
It's highly needed
Well,
here. And
there's lots of people that will help, and we're certain that Winnipeg, Manitoba is going to be the province.
Yeah.
And just because of one article that I did see come out of the newspaper, and that was, we want to be a craft cannabis province.
yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Now listen, we were talking about Toronto yesterday and how it's changed, or in Calgary how it's changed, and it's all corp. You
Yeah.
got Wendy's, you've got these big, huge, Licenzas and all that, which
Yeah.
we liked in the beginning.
yeah.
But look, we've overdone it,
Yeah.
but Winnipeg hasn't. Winnipeg has stayed in the now, and Victoria had no choice really,
Yes.
because there's no room to build anything.
Yeah. Beautiful town.
Yeah.
It is, but it's also unfortunate that a lot of these users end up there because they get a one-way ticket in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And so then, that mayor has to put up with streets full of people. And,
Yeah.
and you think
Injection
after the
sites.
summer, you're like, oh, good, now no more tourists. It's going to be so much fun. No, because now everybody comes from across province to keep warm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did they prepare for that?
No?
No.
No, they did not. That's a very good point.
So the CBD oil that we have has been, we use it with our pets. We have articles that have documented pet, references that people have went through. A
Okay.
recent one was a very great one of my friends. Her dog had died.
Yeah.
So in August, she went out to the pound and she rescued a 10-month-old lab.
Okay.
So she brought the lab home and she had to work because she didn't have her time off to be with the dog, but she just thought, it'll be fine, right? And then she had a friend come and let it out at noon every day, and take it for a walk and play with it. And so it was well pampered.
Yeah.
The dog would chew through the linoleum on the floor.
Wow.
And then if it could it would chew the door. And she lived in an apartment building. She lives in an apartment building.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was major.
Yeah.
So I
separation
said,
anxiety.
Yeah.
let's get the. So we got the 330 milligram. That was one that we typically use for pets. And so it's not as potent as some of the ones that we use, but if you need it for your pet, we can do the more potent ones. It can be special made, custom made.
Yeah.
And she said within a week the dog had changed completely. Like it's
Wow.
a different dog.
Yeah.
And we even had cannabis treats ready from a fellow in Victoria that makes, I'll remember the name in a minute, but he makes these really good cannabis treats, and they're called goobers for dogs.
Okay.
And if it's serious, if they have cancer, whatever, this is a really good thing. But we had it ready just in case we needed to do something more serious.
Yeah.
Didn't need to.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Didn't need
Yeah.
to. So
That's so exciting. I know.
In a natural form instead of putting the dog on antidepressants or
Yeah.
anti-anxiety meds, right?
Yeah.
just like my cat
They
goes
tried to
into
put my
heat.
cat.
Yeah.
It goes into heat, and I'm like, I want the cat to go at least through its first heat because I don't want to contribute to the cat problem and
Yeah.
let her have kittens, which is a terrible thing because they actually are mentally more stable if you let them have that first litter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aw.
So, but at least I let her go through her first heat. So she went through her first heat, and we put up with it for a while. We live in the country, but then it got really bad. So I gave her a little bit of THC oil.
Yeah.
And the next day I went to give it to her because it did quiet her right down. I mean, bam, she was out. So the next day she comes to me and I'm like, I'm not going through this again. What about you? And so I get her ready to get she wouldn't give me, do not give me that, she said. Like, in the cat language,
Yeah.
like, "Ah." And I'm like, oh, okay, settle down. So I got the CBD oil. And it's a very light taste. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
So I just, shot some in her mouth. She just totally stopped howling.
Wow.
And so I said to my kids, it's probably the end of her heat because there's no way I believed that CBD oil would do that for my
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
Next day, wake up, she's howling again.
Wow. So proof.
It's proof.
So I had her on that CBD oil every day, just gave her a shot in the morning, no howling all day. So you can let your cat go through heats
Yeah.
if you want. And so cats and dogs, humans, I suffer with fibromyalgia,
Yeah.
except for I think it's in remission because I don't really feel the pain anymore.
That's amazing.
And I don't know if it's from the CBD because the government says if I say it's cured me, then I might get arrested or shut down. So I won't say it cured me. I will say that the pain has gone down. The inflammation has just gone down.
Yeah.
So I'm not really cured. Of course, I still have rheumatoid, what is it?
Fibromyalgia.
Do you know I denied having it because I went through so much stress, and it was like I was around 48 years old and I was going through just so much stress, and I said to my boyfriend, I think it's just like I'm just going through all this stress and my body's, I'm getting older and your body doesn't handle it as well.
Yeah.
And then something starts to spring up that maybe was in there.
Yeah.
They say it's because of agricultural products and being, eating bread products
I
and stuff.
agree.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Read
And
many
they say
books on
the
that.
men get Parkinson's and the women get dementia. And it's full of, nursing homes are full of it.
Wow.
Don't get me started on nursing homes because
That's a whole other podcast.
that's a whole other podcast. So I wasn't taking enough in the beginning, and then when we started getting the turmeric and the black seed oil, the ginger oil, all mixed in as essential oils with natural reoccurring hemp CBDs,
Yes.
right? So when it's natural reoccurring, you're getting the full spectrum of the plant, right?
Yes.
So I decided to take a full dropper, and I was doing an event like this in Edmonton, and I came back to the event the next day, and I said, oh my God. Like, I was
Wow.
like, I know. See, and I'd lived with this excruciating pain for 10 years. I wouldn't take anything for it. I just smoked marijuana, and I would eat edibles. But because I was very active, I can never get the dose right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my edibles would only be at night when I knew I wasn't going to be out and wanting to even go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to couch it.
Of course. Yeah. I save my edibles for when I'm normally at
Not
home or
going
close to
out.
going home.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we've educated a lot of police officers on the fact that as medical patients, I could smoke 3 joints, and I could easily go and drive.
Yes.
I do
Yeah.
not get over medicated with joints.
Yeah.
What I do get over medicated with is an imbalance in an edible.
Yes.
Because you could have one cookie and you're like, oh, there was like 10 milligrams on that one.
Yeah.
And then the next one you're like puking in the
100.
toilet.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Never a fun time.
Greened
It's
out.
hard to be
Yeah.
consistent with edibles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and,
But they also
and
hit you
yeah.
differently. So.
Oh, and with animals, we had a poodle last year who the vet said that his nail was ripped off because he was digging in the gopher holes out in the
Okay.
country where we live. And so I said, well, what do you do? And he goes, put him on antibiotics. Of course, the best antibiotic is cannabis, right? So
Yes.
I just put him on that, and I didn't use that. And then I decided I should, because I wanted the vet to know that I was trying what he was telling me to do. So then I did incorporate that because it kept happening, like it wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
So then finally, about 6 weeks of him being on something, I took him in, and the thumb of his toe was inflamed so badly. So my old time vet guy, he's like, oh, well, you better cut the toe off, and, we got to do this right away, Donna. There's no time for thinking on this one. So
Wow.
I was like, okay, well, then let's just get the toe off. And he thought it was cancerous, too. And when he took it off, he said, yeah, it is. So when they sew it back up, there's no skin to sew a toe up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
yeah.
difficult. So the stitches within 3 days burst. So
Oh my
I took him back again, and a standard poodle. He's like 9 years old and beautiful dog. And I took him back again, and the vet's like, okay, well, do you see how it's all gray and white? There's no blood coming into it, Donna. And then he goes, oh my goodness, look at his elbow is all swollen, and then look at the joint up in his shoulder, Donna.
no.
He said, we have to amputate that leg. Our 9-year-old poodle. So I was just like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, come back in 2 days. So it was a Wednesday night, so he wanted me back on Saturday. So I went and got the Rick Simpson oil because he wanted to do the x-rays to find out where to sever the leg. And he gives me a hug, and I go home, and I get the Rick Simpson oil out. And what I do is I take the end of a pin, not the head, but the prick,
Yeah.
and then I measure out the dose on the edge of that. And then I take it and wipe it on his tooth.
Okay.
And I do that every 2 hours.
Yeah.
If his head bobs at all during this dosage, that's it. He doesn't get any more. If I see him drooling or doing
Yeah.
anything, but I never had that happen. And by
Wow.
the end of the day, we were like at midnight, I think I was up to almost the size of a short grain rice,
Yeah.
not long grain.
Yeah.
And then the next day it was long grain, and the next day it was long grain, and then Saturday we go in, and the vet was just, I've never seen him because he never believed in cannabis at all, and I used to try to tell him, and he would just shut me down.
Yeah.
And so he's giving me a hug and showing me the blood that had come down, and I was like, yeah, I know, I could see.
Wow.
Wow.
And then
That's
he's going, oh,
amazing.
there's no swelling. So Wednesday night to Saturday.
Yeah.
The dog
Wow.
still has his leg.
Wow.
We've kept him on CBD.
amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
We've kept him on CBD. Now, we don't give it to him every day because, again, like one of our bottles of 1,220 milligrams is sold for around $120. We sell it for around $100. Today, we sell it for $80. But that bottle will take a while to use.
Yes.
And especially with a pet, because you're just going to go, well, should I keep giving it? Like, he's fine.
Yeah.
Give it to him once in a while. Just replenish those endocannabinoids,
Yes.
the cannabinoids, in the body, so that the system can operate. But you don't have to constantly be pouring it. Now,
Yeah.
for me, I do have to use it every day.
Yes.
So
Well, and we can know how much we're dosing ourselves, but for a pet, you have to be more cautious, right? They're not able to tell you that it's too much, or. So
they
you
wouldn't
wanna
like
be
CBD
cautious.
isn't really something you should have to be cautious about.
Yes.
You really, it's a good point you bring up, because you can't overdose anybody on that.
Yeah, that's right.
What happens? You just get tired, right? If you do take too much of it, it just makes you tired.
Well, CBD offsets THC as well, right? Like some people.
And I
use
smoke a lot of
that.
THC, so if you said that to me, I think it might bring out my tiredness, but I smoke joints all day too. So,
Okay.
if I'm taking, now what I do, because I used to take a big shot in the morning and a big shot at night, now I take half of the shot. So only half in the morning and half at night. Now,
Okay.
if I get, if the weather changes, or if I get some feeling like, maybe I'm getting something, then I will feel that, and then I'll increase it for that day, Oh, yeah.
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 So that's how
Listen to your
beneficial
body,
it is.
right?
Yeah. And then in between, I give my horses hemp oil, and the big hemp oils, you can get organic hemp oil for your horses.
Oh, neat.
And it's all organic.
Yeah.
They don't even have to write that, because if the farmer's field is being sprayed and it falls over into the hemp field, the hemp cleans itself.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
But if it's allowed to grow outdoors naturally, even our cannabis in the summer should be growing outdoors naturally, and then stored in houses in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Instead, Tilray, they build these big, huge, and Aurora, I'm picking on all of you. Aurora, they build these big, huge warehouses and go, okay, let's go. And then mites and fungus and oh my goodness. And then what are you going to do with that? Spray it? And then
Sometimes
we're
your
going to
crops
ingest
are-
it?
Yeah.
And then what do we hear about how, the service guys come in to the test and quality control, and then, they're hiding all the chemicals they're not supposed to use up in the rafters.
Yeah.
And then on the East Coast, I can't remember that, we went to protest because they fired 4 employees for coming forward and just saying this isn't the way you are supposed to do it. Well,
Good
you
on
know,
those
They're supposed to just
employees,
keep their
though.
mouths shut.
yeah, so
and-
we went and picketed
Yeah.
in front of them in New Brunswick, in front of,
Amazing.
what was that, Organogram.
Oh,
I think it
I've
was-
heard of them.
They're on the west, they're New Brunswick.
Licensed producer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That
Well,
was
good
one
on
of my
those people
options.
for I'd be the same way though. It's like,
Yes.
listen, people are using this for medical,
Well, and they're trusting.
yeah,
a
There's
certain
no
level of
regulations.
guarantee,
which is
right?
scary.
Yeah.
But they say to us that there are regulations.
they say that.
Yeah.
But you know what
So
else
that's
they're saying?
scary.
I unfortunately had the TV on last night because we forgot the Apple remote and somehow can't get the Apple TV going, so I had to listen to commercials. And they're telling kids not to drink and use cannabis. And I was just like, what the heck
Oh,
is
some of
going
these
on?
commercials that are coming out.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a quick photo up.
Well, the thing is, I told these ladies that came by the table, if your kid is going out and smoking a joint, he's not going to drink as much.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
He'll green out and start puking, and he doesn't
Yeah.
want to do that because his chick is with him or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or his guy,
Yeah.
And so, so when you talk to your children, don't let them believe all the hype. It's
Yes.
going to put fear into them,
Yeah.
and then if they do smoke a joint, maybe they're going to think, oh, I have to get in an accident because you've already
Yeah.
installed it through the propaganda.
Or the
Yeah.
paranoia.
Yeah, the
is, like,
paranoia.
intense
Just like when we
or-
were kids, we were told cocaine was the next that
Marijuana was
was
the
a
gateway
Gateway drug. Yeah.
And I always said that's bullshit. It's tobacco and alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because tobacco
Agreed.
makes you dizzy, and
Yeah.
alcohol makes you dizzier.
Yeah. Yes, very true.
It's
Right?
true.
And sometimes
I
the
had
two
that
make
argument
you black
with
out.
yeah.
Now, if my son's dizzy and he smokes too much, do you think he's going to get in his nice car that he loves so
No.
much?
No.
No.
He's like, I'm coach now, and then he goes and plays Xbox, right? So all the propaganda on the news channels and that's why I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
And if we all stopped watching TV, then
I
we
don't.
wouldn't. Because, what are they going to do? Put speakers out like they did back in the day in Germany? And then announce it over the city speakers?
Yeah.
If you
Speaker on
stop
every
watching
corner.
TV, they're going to have to. So I
That is
fight
so
against
true.
TV like I do tobacco, right?
Yeah.
Just keep it away from me. But, I said to my boyfriend, get that, who's got the TV on? I said, they're just all this propaganda. Do you hear what they're saying about
Yeah.
cannabis?
Yeah.
I
try
mean,
not to
Molson
listen.
Canadian, I'm sorry, you're going down, right? Because Canada's not drinking beer no more. And you know what else? The terpene, I think it's called limonene, it actually reduces the addiction symptoms. And that's why,
Yeah.
these people on the street are going, wow,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe it. I could
Yeah.
actually use this.
Yeah.
And heal. And do you know how many people I know have went off of opiates in the last 2.5 years? I can't even count. Can't even count. And I'm shocked because I'm like, you're really going to go off of them? Because I thought, that Big Farm had them. It was just like, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and how they walk through, and then everyone's frozen.
Yeah.
They got them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
Yeah, I
You're-
agree.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm super happy we got to talk to
I
you today.
know.
You're
Yeah.
so, I just love I'm
So
learning
knowledgeable.
so
I just feel
much.
like
Yeah.
so
Like,
proud.
you don't
I'm
really
so glad that we met last night.
Yes,
I
I'm
just
very
about didn't go
happy.
because I was just like, I don't know, I just kind of felt a little off, and then I thought, no, when you feel off, go. That's when you
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
right? That's when something is going to be on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a blast last night. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to have met you.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can have you back on the show another day.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Yeah.
for
We
sure.
would love to do that. You have
Yeah.
so much knowledge, and
Yeah.
we want to share that with the world. So
And we actually want to come back. We
That
want
would
to
be
come back
amazing.
to this area of Canada.
Amazing.
would love
Like I
that.
said, we've been right to the East Coast, and you know, it just fits so good together, you know.
Yeah.
And I drove out here. It's such a nice drive. The best highway in Canada.
Really?
The 1A highway all the way out here.
So many people complain about Winnipeg, and I'm just so happy that, you know, somebody not from here is saying how much they've enjoyed it, and that means a lot to me personally.
Well,
so.
can I tell you a little story?
Yes, you can.
See, I hated Winnipeg too. But I had a life-changing experience, and it was this summer when we had to go to New Brunswick. We were doing an event out there, and a lady was, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like couch surfing, except for it's like international, and you can go and do a work stay.
I've heard about, yeah. Actually, somebody.
Sorry, I just can't remember the website. But anyway, so I met this girl from Shanghai. She was a teacher. She is a teacher in Shanghai, and she wanted to come to Canada and do a tour across Canada. And so she wanted to stay with us, right? So that was really great. So she actually waited for me to get back, and I was a day or two late, and she still waited because she just found it so great just to be there. And we have horses and a few dogs and cats and stuff, and my two boys just entertained her, and they all got to share their cooking and culinary. And
nice.
she was just, and so when I met her, I was just like, she was so much fun, and she had so much good energy, and just a really great person to be around, and you just know it from the start.
Yeah.
And so she said, well, you know, she had to go, and it was all these hugs goodbye, and she traveled to Winnipeg. That was one of her stops she wanted to go to. And she met a really good friend here. And she also, I think she had a friend here or maybe in Montreal. But anyway, and she just said, if I, you know, I'm trying to move to Canada and get everything switched around to there. But if I do, I want to move to Winnipeg. And I didn't have the heart to tell her it's colder than Calgary.
Oh, way colder.
Because she was worried about the cold. So I thought I'll just keep that down. But, you know,
for like 5
she's not
months.
stupid. I'm
Only.
sure she checked it out. But she said because the cultural experience. And she said the people, there is like nooks and crannies that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And that's what's so special. And I said, that's what Calgary used to be.
Aw,
So that's why.
Oh, you just
that's
gave me
awesome.
goosebumps.
Ah.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it was
people
great.
would like to look up your CBD oil. Where
Sure.
can they find that?
They can find it at dabcore.ca or CBDawn.ca.
Okay.
It's my website, or they can actually find me on Facebook, and they can message me directly on Facebook as well.
Amazing.
So I have a site there too. Other than that, I have wellness at CBDawn.ca, an email.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
And contact her. She's a lovely lady. And if you're here at HempFest today, definitely come down and check out her booth.
Yeah, it says High Times on the booth.
Yeah, you won't miss it. It's right when you walk in the front door.
Our Dabcore sign is up there, but it's kind of hard to see. So
Oh, yes, I see it
You
right
see
up
it,
there.
right, yeah.
So just look straight ahead when you walk in.
I
and
didn't
you
bring
won't
my
miss them.
CBDawn banner this time. So
Next time.
Next time, yeah.
well, we were taking flights a lot, and like I just got so sick of flying because last time I had the police meet me at the gate.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's another story.
Yes.
I would tell you another time.
Okay. Wow, you have so many stories. Maybe we need to come and visit you at
I
your
know.
farm and
That's
see
what
all your
we're gonna
horses
do.
and all your
We'll
pets.
do a
and-
podcast with the horses.
Yeah,
Sit with the
exactly.
horses, yeah.
Where'd
Horses
you get
are
those
my
little
favorite.
pasties?
Oh yeah, we gotta shout this out too.
Oh, yes.
So
Don't
we
forget
have
about our
this-
contest.
Remember the contest, guys, with the nip sticks? Everybody wants nip sticks. So pretty much you go to our Instagram. It's 2BG Podcast. Give us a follow. Tag a friend that you'd want to wear these with, or for. And then share the post.
Yes.
And then
And well, the contest ends tonight at midnight, and we'll be doing the draw or posting the draw tomorrow at 8 p.m.
yeah, we'll
So
do a
watch
draw.
for the video of announcing the 4 winners that we're gonna have.
Yeah, 4 winners.
4 winners.
Ooh, chances just got bigger.
So
Awesome.
again, thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us
Yes,
today.
thank you so
it was
much.
so lovely to meet you. And
Yeah, it was great meeting you guys.
Yeah.
It's a
Amazing.
short drive away.
Yeah.
1 second, sorry.
Okay.
So thank you so
Awesome.
much for joining us on Two Baked Girls. We'll see you
We'll
later at
be-
3 p.m.
Yeah, we'll be back after.
Join us then.
Okay, bye.